Hey, I'm Karnik. This is Star Wars Armada Explained. Today I had a special request to review a card for the MC-75 Cruiser. That is the title Aspiration. So Aspiration is a unique title. If you look there, you'll see a bullet point in front of its name. It means you can only field one of these in your fleet. How do you know it equips the MC-75? Well, obviously, besides a huge MC-75 on the title card having aspirations of blowing up that Star Destroyer in front of it, if you look at the bottom left-hand corner of the card, you will see the MC-75 symbol. This is a Rebel-only title, which you can see there next to its point cost, which is 3. Now, the text on this card is too small for me to read even on Vassal, so I'm going to switch to the wiki page to read. It says, when you deploy this ship, you may move shields to up to 2 of your hull zones from your other hull zones. If you do, the number of shields in a zone cannot exceed a maximum of 6. You cannot recover shields while any zone is greater than its maximum shield value. That's, there's an important point there to remember is the recover shields part. The second part, rules clarification. Shields can be moved to hull zones on the ship that this card is equipped to, including through the card effect of Projection Experts, as long as the number of shields in the hull zone they are moved to does not exceed the hull zone's maximum shield value. And that is a rule clarification from the official FAQ of the game. I just read it there on the website because it was just right there. So let's pop back here. So let's break this down into parts and we'll go over this as simply as I can. So let's talk about the first part here, about the when you deploy this ship. So it doesn't matter when the ship is deployed. Either it can be your first deployment ever, it can be the last ship you deployed out of all of your other ships. It also is when you deploy this ship from a Radis hyperspace, for example. The key word there is when you deploy this ship, is when now this title takes effect. Now, I'm being pointed about that because I have seen people plop down their MC-75 first, and then we do the rest of the deployment, and then like, oh yeah, now I'm going to do aspiration, and now I'm going to move all my shields, and then they put all their shields towards the side where I have all my ships. So that's only making it harder for me to then kill the MC-75, and that's a little aggravating, but I understand people make mistakes, and depending on the newness of the player, I'll be like, oh yeah, that's mistakes happen, but just so you know, like this affected my deployment, like how I would have deployed. But if it's in like a regional or world's tournament setting, like tough luck, man. Like you should have remembered your card. Like you, like intentionally or not, like you've screwed with my strategy of how I'm going to deal with this ship moving forward. Or again, it just all depends on how you feel like you want to be considerate to your opponent. It just depends on the level of play that we're playing at. So now we've deployed the ship. Now what? So the ship is now deployed. We're going to say we've deployed it in the deployment zone. So you know what? I'm going to move 2 shields from my left and put them on my front. So we're going to go from 4 to 6 because remember an MC-75 has 4 shields in the front and then 3 shields in its other hold zones. And you know what? I'm going to move 3 shields from the rear and I'm going to put them on my left, or on my right side, excuse me. And obviously depending on your opponents and where the ship is deployed, where it's fighting, obviously put shields towards wherever it's going to be most beneficial. In this case, I have a really strong front and a really strong right, but no shields on my rear and only 1 shield left on my left. So that's the first part of the card done, dusted. You've deployed, you've moved the shields, now it's the next part. So the next part is about you cannot recover shields while any zone is greater than its maximum shield value. So, and also just so you guys know, the maximum number of shields a zone can reach is 6. You can't go higher than that because the dial on ships only go up to 6. So now that these are at maximum, what does it mean by recover shields? So that ship specifically cannot reveal an engineering dial and recover any shields personally. He can move shields, but he can't move shields to any zone that already has exceeded its maximum shield value. Like, so for example, we'll say maybe the ship had taken some damage and it's down to 5 shields on the front from the 6 you originally put there, and you want to move a shield. You cannot move a shield from the left to the front. Okay, you cannot recover any more shields because you've exceeded your maximum shield value still. That's stated specifically in the rules clarification right there, that uh, you cannot move shields to the hull zones if they are exceeding that hull zone's maximum shield value. Now you can move shields away from your overloaded shield areas if you wanted to and put them to other places, and then obviously that would drop you down there. But again, you still have one hull zone that's still supercharged, so you still can't recover shields until that hull zone goes back down to 3. Okay, so just because one zone is no longer doing that, you still have one other zone that still is. So that's their whole recover point. So you still can move shields. You can move shields away from your supercharged arcs to other arcs, but you can't move shields into arcs that are already beyond their limit. So again, the front being 4, if it's at 5, you can't move one to make that from 5 to 6 again. Okay, so now let's talk about moving shields. Let's talk about projection experts. It specifically calls this card out, and really this is the only card that I'm aware of that can move shields to other ships. So projection experts, it allows you to spend engineering points to move ships from the ship. Oh my gosh, to move shields from the ship it is equipped to be shields on another ship within distance 1 to 5. So we got a Pelta here, because Pelta has an engineering of 4. It's pretty bad A. We're going to say, you know what, I'm going to take 2 shields off my front, and I'm going to move those 2 shields over to this other ship. Now, let's set this back to how I had it before. So say you've done this deal here, the 6 and 6, and okay, so now you can't projection experts more shields in the zones. Again, they're already at their maximum, and even if they were at 5, or in this case, this was at 5 or 4, you can't move shields into those zones. They're still beyond their maximum shield values of what those arcs typically hold. But you can move shields to the other arcs. So in this case, we're saying we're going to take 2 shields off the front. You know what? We're going to pump 2 shields back on the left side. Boom. Now we've got a ship that's 6, 6, and 3. So now you've kind of have shored up that weakness that it had used to pump those shields in those other hull arcs. And heck, if you give it another turn to do that, and guess what? It can pump back up another 2 into the rear arc. And you know what? Now that's a very scary MC-75 barreling towards your ships with a lot of shields. So that's Aspiration. So again, recap, when you deploy, that's when you move the shields. If the shields exceed their maximum amount, you cannot recover any shields on that ship, meaning you can't spend engineering points to gain shields. You can spend points to move shields away from the overcharged arcs to other arcs. And again, other ships with projection experts can move shields to you because, again, it's not a recover effect. They're spending their own shields to move shields to you. And that's Aspiration. I think I've covered all the aspects of it. There is no other, card interactions or anything else I'm aware of, other than just, again, make sure that you're abiding by the rule set of the card and the FAQ. Again, I know a lot of people, when they read all that text, they're like, I don't understand this. So it's just order of operation and procedural, like, why does this work, etc. So hopefully I've explained that well enough. Of course, any questions, if you feel like I got anything in error, please be sure to let me know about it. Otherwise, I appreciate you guys watching the video, and I'll catch you next time.